Have you ever felt like you're teaching, I don't know, 5 different classes all at once in the same room? Well, in this explainer, we are going to build a super practical toolkit for you, the language teacher, to diagnose and adapt to that exact challenge. And this isn't just a bunch of theory, okay? These are tools you can start using tomorrow.
So here's our game plan. We're going to kick things off by really defining that core classroom challenge. Then, we'll look at the context outside the student. After that, we'll zoom right in on the learners themselves, tackle the huge topic of motivation, and finally, wrap it all up into a simple but really powerful toolkit.
All right, let's start by putting a name to that core challenge. You know the one. It's the thing every single language teacher deals with, no matter where you are in the world.
You already know this, right? Your classroom is this wild mix of different ages, different goals, different learning styles, so that one-size-fits-all lesson plan, it's just not going to cut it. The big shift we're making here is to reframe all that diversity. It's not a problem, it's data, and we're about to figure out how to use it.
Okay, so the first set of tools we're grabbing from our kit focuses on context. Before we even get to the individual student, we have to understand the why and the where that brought them into your classroom in the first place.
And this first distinction, it is absolutely critical. Are you teaching a nurse the specific vocabulary they need for their job? Or are you teaching a tourist general skills to get around and order a coffee? Their needs are worlds apart. Nailing down this why is your first big diagnostic win.
Next up, you've got to consider where they're learning. See, an EFL student might only use English in your classroom, but an ESL student, they walk out your door and have to immediately use English to survive, to buy groceries, ask for directions, you name it. That constant real-world pressure completely changes what they need from you.
And of course, there's the big one for today's world, the screen. In a virtual class, you lose all those little physical cues, the hand gestures, the body language, that shared energy in a room. Plus, let's be real, you're competing with every other tab open on their computer. It's not just a change of location, it requires a totally different playbook for keeping them engaged.
Okay, so we've looked at the world outside the classroom. Now let's open that door, step inside, and really zoom in on the learners themselves. This right here is the heart of our diagnostic toolkit.
I mean, just look at this table. It shows how age completely changes your role as a teacher. With kids, you're kind of like a performer, using songs and games to keep up with their short attention spans. With teenagers, you're more of a facilitator, navigating all those tricky social dynamics. And with adults, you're a coach, using their life experience as a resource while helping them get past any old negative learning habits.
All right, next tool in the box, figuring out their actual proficiency level. You know, words like beginner or intermediate can be pretty vague. Using a clear, standardized framework like this gives you a concrete roadmap. It's not about slapping a label on someone. It's about knowing exactly what a student can do with the language.
And this is why it's so powerful. The whole framework is built on these can-do statements, so if you know your student is at a B1 level, you know they can handle this kind of task. It completely takes the guesswork out of lesson planning. You can set challenges that are just right, not too easy, and definitely not overwhelming.
And finally, how do they actually like to learn? Some students need to see the grammar rule on the board. Others really need to hear it used in a conversation. And then you have the ones who need to do something with it. Get up, move around, act it out. A really great lesson mixes it up, making sure you're hitting all of these styles and connecting with every single learner in that room. So, our diagnostics are done. We have a much clearer picture of who our students are. So what's next? Now, we get to focus on the engine of all learning, motivation.
So what is motivation, really? The easiest way to think about it is like a spark. It's that desire, that goal that was strong enough to make them sign up and walk through your door or log into your class. That's the fuel they show up with.
But here's the absolute key. That initial spark is usually extrinsic. It's about getting a better job or planning a trip. They bring that with them. Your job, the real magic, is to create intrinsic motivation. That's the good stuff that comes from inside the classroom. The fun of an activity, that amazing feeling of success, the supportive vibe you build.
You know, one of the most powerful ways to build that internal fire is to give students what we call agency. It's not about letting them run wild. It's just about offering small but really meaningful choices. Hey, should we practice this with a game or a discussion? How do you want me to correct your mistakes?
Little shifts like that turn them from passive passengers into active drivers of their own learning.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground, so let's bring it all home and summarize this awesome toolkit you can now use to be a more responsive, diagnostic, and ultimately adaptable teacher.
So here it is, your whole diagnostic process in 4 simple steps. Step 1, analyze the context. Step 2, profile your learners. Step 3, foster their motivation. And Step 4, encourage autonomy. Think of these as 4 different lenses you can look through every single time you sit down to plan a lesson.
So, what's the big takeaway from all this? Great teaching isn't about finding one single perfect method. It's about becoming a master of adaptability. By using these tools to truly see your students, you stop just teaching a subject and you start teaching people. So the only real question left is, which tool are you going to try out tomorrow?